them with you representing, are they still free to do other things? You don't have an exclusivity to what you're doing with them, right?
No, I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's not with the school, it's with the players. And I think that matters most. I mean, you look at this, we entered into an agreement with each of the players, and that's what's important about Built for Life and NIL as a whole.
The question is that your agreement with the players, do you require them to not represent other companies?
No, they can represent.
So
Free
to do what they want.
Yeah, I mean, I'll let the attorneys worry about that piece of it. I think at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is worry about the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish. What this is all about. It's a little bit of changing the dialogue about NIL and what it represents. You look at what Kalani has done and what he's all about the spirit of family, about the spirit of team. I mean, that's what it's all about. NIL, when it came out in the last several weeks, I mean, it's a little bit of the wild, wild west, right? And what we're trying to figure out is navigate through, okay, what does it mean? How do you define it? But the problem is it's become a little bit more of an I, a mentality instead of a we mentality. What can I get? And what can you get? As opposed to what can we do and what can we get together? And I wish you guys could have seen, I felt the real energy of the team. They were celebrating the one, but they celebrated together as if they all won. And that was the power of it. And then the second guy with Talmadge getting up there celebrated again. And I mean, that's the power of what we're trying to create here, is change that dialogue from I to we.
How long is the deal initially going to be for?
I mean, it's multi-year deal. Really at the end of the day, I mean, we tried to make sure that this is something we can work together with all players into the future. We want to show our commitment to them, to the walk-ons, to all the players and what they represent. And so for us, you can't just say one year and one and done. That's not what this institution's about. That's not what these boys are about. That's not what Built is about. And so we made sure it was a multi-year deal.
Is it structured in a way where it can be automatically extended?
Yeah. I mean, we worked through that. Again, I don't worry. I let the attorneys worry about that piece of it. But I think the spirit of it is for sure, how do we do this for a long, long time? That's what's important.
Have all 123 players indicated that they will accept?
You know what? I hope so.
Okay.
I haven't checked. I haven't heard. I think maybe at least one has signed. That's good. We're like on a roll. So we got 122 left. But I would assume so. Yeah, it's a good question.
What's the return on investment for Bill, both tangible and maybe intangible?
No, as far as the return on investment, I think it's the return on the player's investment, their time. I think that's what we're focusing on, is like, well, what's their return going to be like? How are they going to learn? How are they going to grow? How are they going to become? I think that's our focus right now, is like, okay, let's create an experience that gives them an opportunity to actually look at this as an opportunity to go grow and get gainful employment, to start their own job, to start their own businesses, whatever it may be. I mean, to me, I'm going to tell you, it's return on players' investment. And in return, guess what's going to happen? What's going to follow? We'll get our return on our investment. And that's what's important to us.
How far back does your relationship date with Kalani? How far back does it go?
Was it a week and a half ago we met? Years. For many, many years, now. I mean, look what he's done to this program. You guys all feel it. You see it. When you're around him, you feel the love he has for these boys. How can you not want to be around that? How can you not want to, be involved with that cause? And so, of course, I'm like, any chance I can is to be around this man and this human being. And he said he learned from me. Holy cow. I don't think he's learned anything from me. I think I'm learning from him. We're all learning from him, which I love.
We know the business community in Utah's, as big as it is, it's also
pretty tight, right?
We've seen gigs sign up with these guys.
Yeah.
Now you guys sign a lot of them. Do you think that this is going to create more of a snowball effect? You hope, I guess, to have more business leaders get involved?
Yeah, I think we need to look at this not just on a local level. I think we need to look at this on a national level. Really at the end of the day, it's a paradigm shift. It's a different way of thinking. We talk about NIL. We talk about, again, the individual player. Could you imagine if teams were to partner with businesses? And let's talk about a sport like women's volleyball or men's golf. What about a business coming in and not just affecting the one, but affecting the entire team? I mean, I think that's the conversation we need to start having to help these kids, to help these student athletes go make a change out in the world, because these are future leaders. They're learning so many leadership qualities on and off the court and on and off the field. For heaven's sakes, let's invest in that. Why do we have to talk about investing in the one? Let's invest in all. I think that's what's important.
Just to follow up to that, is that something that you hope to kind of spur with what you guys are doing here?
Yeah, I hope we change a little bit of the conversation, a little bit of the dialogue. You know, what's the narrative? Again, let's help define that. Let's help shape that. Let's help be a voice, you know, for these kids and for these student athletes. That's what's important.
Looking at the NIL compensation,
Other sports, like specifically women's sports.
Say that again.
Do you envision moving this program to other sports at BYU and more specifically?
As far as Built is concerned, you know what? We're looking at this is not the end. You know, we've been contacted by schools since yesterday. How do we fuel their teams? You know, how do we help build their teams? And maybe it's not through, you know, compensation. Maybe it's through experiences. Maybe it's helping build their own personal brands. I mean, at the end of the day, let's think about this. What's the percentage that are going to go out, men or women, professionally and play these sports? It's small. We know that. Well, why not invest in them to teach them how to build their own personal brands so they're that much further ahead, you know, in the future when they leave the school in particular? Yeah.
looking at the NIL compensation, it's already been mentioned
Yeah.
that it's going to be based on a full semester's tuition. Is that a uniform rate, or is it based on in-state, out-of-state tuition? Because I know at BYU that there's a difference between in-state and out-of-state tuition in terms of how much tuition.
If I'm not mistaken, I think BYU is actually determined based upon religion, and it's not in-state, out-of-state. I could be wrong on that, and so really that's the focus.
Well, there's actually two tiers there, because they do in-state and out-of-state, and they do religion as well.
I don't think so. Actually, I think it's just religion. So as far as being a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or not. And I mean, again, yesterday, I mean, that story of Nick, you kidding me, from San Clemente, he's paying double the tuition. I mean, this kid had offers. He had scholarships. He had the chance to go and play. San Jose, I believe, and in other places he had offers. What did he feel when he came here and he talked to coach? Like, to me, that's powerful. That inspired me to say, okay, that's a kid we want to invest in. That's a kid that's willing to fight. And so, like, yeah, he's paying more of the tuition, but his story is one of paying double because of religion. And I think that's all BYU is based upon his religion, if I'm not mistaken.
I saw that the walk-ons have like additional commitments with social media. How often do they have to like post or share content?
You know what? I mean, I guess the devil's in the details as far as, okay, what they can and cannot do. But you know what's going to happen? I think it's like no different anything in life. If you can focus on the spirit of what you're trying to create instead of maybe so much of like the exactness or the letter of it, I think we're going to get a lot more out of it than maybe just the exact like 2 events or whatever it may end up being. You know, at the end of the day, they're going to give their all. I mean, these boys, you're around them, and you show that you're fighting for them. Like, they're going to do a whole bunch for you. Again, you want to do a whole bunch for them. What does that mean? Maybe that means additional compensation. Who knows? Let's go fight together. Let's go make a better world together. Let's go make an impact together. That's what it's going to end up being as far as our agreement. I think they can feel that already in just 24 hours.
What impact do you feel like this sort of deal can have for BYU on the field, on game days, on Saturdays?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think it'll help inspire. You know, I think it'll help others, you know, to realize maybe how do I inspire differently? How do I do differently individually? But then how do we do differently as a team or as a family? You know, I think it'll be talked about. My guess is maybe during games, who knows? I hope it is. And I hope it's the fact that it's because they're like, well, hold on a second. Should we change the dialogue a little bit? Are we training and teaching our youth to think about me instead of thinking about us? For heaven's sakes, how awesome would that be? Wouldn't that be kind of cool if that's created? I mean, let's hope so. I hope it is.
Last couple questions for Nick.
Was the idea
They can
originated
ask
from
away, yeah.
Bill? Was it from BYU? Where did the idea kind of genesis from?
Yeah, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, when we saw NIL was going to take place, and specifically July 1st was around the corner, we knew we wanted to do something with it. But Built is not a Me Too brand. Built doesn't work upon a Me Too, foundation. you know. And so for us, it's about, okay, how do we do things differently? And you know, when I know several of these players, and when I see them and talk with them, and I realize, holy cow, they don't want to be a me too, but they got to be trained to not be me too, and to act a little differently and be a little differently. I mean, that's the foundation the school's based upon, and to focus, you know, on that. You know what? That's when it came together. We started talking with the team and others and the players, and we're able to enter into those type of agreements with them to go do something differently. Yeah.
When you guys were putting all of this together, I mean, it's been barely 24 hours since the
Yeah.
announcement, and you guys were creating this worldwide buzz, viral moments on social
Is it
media
worldwide now?
and everything. I mean, pretty close.
Wow.
Like I saw a story in, I think it's The Guardian or the BBC or
Okay,
something like that,
okay.
like, so I don't know how worldwide, but
Okay.
at least once or twice.
Yeah.
I mean, could you have imagined like just how national and even worldwide to an extent that kind of this reception would receive to, hey, here's a sponsorship deal with this school that I love?
Yeah, I think if you're talking to Kalani, I think he would tell you, yes, absolutely. This has been his dream, and this is his belief. This is what he's been fighting for. Did we think it was going to catch on that fast? Did I personally? No. That wasn't the intent. The intent wasn't like, well, how do we create this so it actually creates the most buzz and gets to the BBC or whoever it may be? It just, that's when things are organic and they're real, it just naturally goes. And what an honor, what a blessing that's been so far. Yeah.